Here we go. Hi, this is Feezy Rieger, and welcome to Around the Quantum Campfire. Today is October 22nd, and I've got a whole pile of kick-ass creator beings here with me. Belinda and Noel and Mathew and Jeanie. Welcome.
Hello.
Hey.
And we've got West Coast and East Coast and a little bit in the center, kind of well covered here tonight, so we're doing good. So I made a list of everybody had brought in some things that they wanted to chat about, and I would love to start with Noel, and one of the ones that you wrote just highlighted in a beautiful vibrating blue color for me when I wrote it. And that is, I am loving more deeply, and I have more space for all the love. So yes. give us a sense of what that is for you, and we'll jump off playing with that.
Oh boy. I guess I could say my heart space has been opening quadruply. And as I said, I think in another line is I really feel like high-fiving everybody, you know, just like I feel like, and I've got this wild joy that I'm not quite sure, you know, where it's coming from. I don't ask where or why anymore.
Right. I
just go ahead and enjoy it. But I do realize I need to have to kind of bring it in a little bit or something. Not for myself, but when I'm out in the public. But I have more room, more space, more. I notice a lot of maybe, you might say, mild judgments in the past about this or that. They're just flying away. They're just breaking apart into little pieces. And I don't see them again. And I'm so glad, because that what I think is what's making for the room that I'm feeling.
Yep.
And it's beautiful. It's great. And it's got nothing to do with physically how I'm feeling. You know, I still may have this pain or this ache or this whatever, but that's not where I'm coming from anymore. It's beautiful.
It's cosmically delicious.
There you go. It's cosmic. It's better than marshmallows and chocolate and, you know, maybe.
That's it. Well, before we pass it around to everybody else, I just want to ask you one thing to see if you'll play with it a little bit more, Noel, and that is, you said, I guess I have to tone it down a little when I'm out there. And I'm curious, is that a nudge to do that from your higher being, your soul, or is that up here coming from?
Well, I mean, I'd rather tone it. Well, when I say tone it down, I mean it's like I don't want to be put away in an asylum, you know, because people will go, she's running around high-fiving everybody. You know, go get her and bring her back.
We can't have that.
We can't have that happy, you know. No, I guess I don't tone it down. People that know me know I'm you know.
It sounds like filtering.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I just have to need to, you know, I'm still walking amongst 3D and I have to be cognizant of it. But I find my people. They might be at the grocery store, you know. Yep. They might just be, you know, in my yoga class or, you know, whatever. But I do find, I mean, you know, I find other happy people.
Cool.
It's a great thing. Yeah. It's delicious.
It seems a shame to play on the side of toning it down. I mean, I know what you mean, but you can have an inside high five and a radiant smile and have that same beacon, because that's how you transmit this. That's how we, you know, share that joy. You know, imagine yourself going by, you could be walking and there's this trail of cosmically delicious coming behind you. People are going to go, wow, you know, like they walk past a French pastry shop or something. Did you see that? Did you smell that? That's wonderful. That's cosmically delicious. We gotta go get some.
You know, it's funny. When I was a little girl, I was very much the same way. When I was like 3, 4, and 5. And then, of course, you go to school, and then it's like, gee, you know? And so I feel like I'm kind of coming back to my true self that I was when I was with my peanut butter jelly sandwich up in a tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's I'm more coming back than and just going, oh yeah, after all this kind of mud that I can get rid of, then I'm coming back to my real me. But I appreciate what you're saying, BZ, because I really don't want to hide. There's no place to hide or reason.
Yeah.
But it's still some filtering there.
Yeah. And programming note, the hiding time is over.
Yeah. Let me write that down. Put it on my car.
Cool. Well, who wants to jump in and play with what Noel's brought up?
Well, I have something to say.
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
It's like you're almost the opposite of what I feel right now. Because I'm feeling, like, wow. And you're making me feel better. And so, thank you. I just feel like I'm working hard to get where you are. I'm there sometime, but it's like, wow, will someone just slow this train down? That's kind of all right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. There's a lot of baggage I've been throwing off my,
Train.
Yeah. Throwing these big rocks of baggage that weren't mine to begin with. And so it can get that way. I mean, I can see where you're coming from because I've been there.
Yeah. Well, I come and go, but, I wish it was stayed a little, more often. I don't know. Ask my husband, I bite his head off at least once a day. At least.
Well, you've now got Noel with her coast to coast, effervescent sparkles of cosmic delicious coming your way. So, you could visualize taking some of those pieces, right? The feeling that you've got now is making you feel, moving up, right? So put a couple of those pieces of baggage on one of those bubbles and send it off on its way.
Ah. They're not yours to begin with.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, you've got people
Make it a unicorn ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on this little island. There's not enough of you here. You know what I mean? It's like I have to find these people.
Mm-hmm.
And you said hi. And something, that's actually what I do a lot of. I do. Right. I hide. Right here in this little island.
Yeah. Well, you've got trees on the island.
Oh, yes. I love my
well, there you go, but you can't, when you're with the trees, you're not hiding. You're actually coming further out. So.
Oh, they know. And they clap. Yeah. It's them, my friends. I'm more in touch with nature than I am with people.
Yeah.
With animals,
Yeah.
That's more me. People scare me. I don't know. No, they don't. I don't know.
So Mathew, you want to jump in?
Well, I'm enjoying the ride.
So are you noticing that you have more room for love and that you're loving more? What are you feeling around that sense of love?
Well, I have those moments, absolutely. There's still the 3D reality kicks in and attempts to drag me into a rabbit hole. But no, by and large, absolutely, I agree with her that those moments of compassion that just open you up and like, wow. So I concur, Noel.
Oh, you concur. Good.
I concur. How's that?
Well, I had to, when I read your line, what was it here? I'm so excited for humanity and this ascension. I feel like high-fiving everyone, even though most people I interact with have no idea. And it's true. It's that, there are days I just feel that sense of, it's tap dancing on the road here at work, and people who have gotten used to kind of look at me and go, okay, it's one of those days.
She's plugged in. Watch out.
But what I've noticed too is there are some people that are not going to like this happy. And I had it.
They're not. I mean, it's the chasm is so tremendous now. I mean,
yeah, exactly, Matthew.
I spoke to a friend today, and she wanted me to go down a rabbit hole. I'm like, we have their safe word. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.
Right.
Really?
Really. Yeah.
I can't.
What you're both describing is, you've heard of the separation of worlds, which is metaphoric, although it's actually in actuality as well, and you're seeing it.
Oh, an experience. I've experienced it for some time, but I have safe words with several friends who I speak, because it can get intense and it can get passionate, and it's like, tangerine, I'm out. No joke.
Yeah, no, I love it.
I love you, tangerine, goodbye. And I go, because it's wow. I can see where they're going, and I respect it. We'll cool down for a few hours or a few days, and then we're right back where we started. So
that's great. Actually, that's a wonderful transmitting of integration for them as well. Even if you don't say it and they have no idea what it is, it's just, you're you and I'm me, and you can play where you want to play, and we don't have to play at that lower level,
Right. Well, I mean, I used to be I'm a reformed fixer. Let me help you. Let me take care. You just bring it all to me. I'll take care of it. I'm a reformed. So, I have a trigger or two in there, and it's like, no, tangerine, I love you. Goodbye. So.
And you may see them again, or you may not. I mean,
we always come back. We always circle back.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general, it could happen that you might not see them again.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, these are long, true, but just to respect where they are, and for the first time, not go down those rabbit holes with them.
Right.
So it's I hadn't completely noticed the chasm and the 3D. Absolutely.
Cool.
It is palpable.
Yeah. Jeanie,
especially in these
jump
last few
in.
weeks.
Jeanie?
Who? I think she hung up.
She's still on my thing.
She's still on
Yes,
Oh.
She's out there on a cosmically delicious ride. Pay attention, Jeanie. Get back here.
Well, honestly, I had myself on mute. I'm in my car, and I wanted to position it so I could see the moon and that beautiful tree. So,
so you want to jump in, and we're playing with Noel's one of her concepts, and that's of she has loving more deeply and has more space for love.
I actually have in my lap just a couple lines I had written. It says, "Space of self-love, knowing now I can. I can love what is, knowing I helped create it. Loving self now is all power one." So yes, I've been having some fun self-loving moments.
Great.
Cool. And are you spreading that around as transmitting, or just with a smile, or what are you encountering with people in that feeling of expansion in love?
Well, what I've noticed is when I can stay in a loving space in my heart, in my experience, it's so much easier to beam that and to, let the joyous expansion be. But when I am in a space of, being critical.
Your
in
phone.
this moment, yeah, then I'm not as expansive, and I'll still smile and say hello and be kind and polite, and but when I'm really loving myself and being aware of that love now, those are the moments where my heart swells and I feel the sparklers, you know?
Yep. Wonderful. Cool. And I'd like to move to Mathew now. A couple of the ones that you had brought in, but one I think that I was nudged fits in right in the path that lit up for me. They kind of, when I print them all out, what people sent, and when I look at them, the different ones, I make a mark to highlight each person's name, and then in them they turn different colors for me.
Oh.
So
what color's mine?
That's well, it's just that when I'm looking at them, they light up, and so I know I put a mark next to it because that's the one that's, you know, I'm nudged to do. That's kind of a steps of my nudges work on that. So you mentioned here that there are more obvious quantum jumps as well as timelines bleeding together.
Yes. The wackiest one I've put on there.
Explain.
Well, I don't know. Tell us about it.
What would you say? Splain?
I said explain like Ricky Ricardo. Explain.
Splain, yeah. Where to begin? It started as small things, and it's just in these last 6 to 8 weeks, just absolutely ramping up. Walking in the park, nice big loop. You can see the whole loop. You can see people coming and going, and over time, I see people jumping in front of me on the loop or coming up behind me, and a few minutes later, seeing them in a different place on the loop. That wasn't necessarily humanly possible.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
not the first few times.
Oh, okay. Well, I've always thought it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, I stop and I'm like, wait a minute. She was in front of me. How is she behind me now?
Right.
I've walked for 2 minutes. It's like, so starting out like that, and then small things, even, placing things, that I use every day are in different places constantly now. I mean, my shower sponge moves all the time now, and it's like, okay, I'll just go with the flow here. People, things, keys. It's just like, wow. And I know what it is now because it happens. For example, every night I turn off the computer and I close it up and I unplug everything, and the next morning I get up and the computer's open, or my desk is not how I left it. And it's like, all right, okay, we'll go with the flow here. So it's starting to come into conversations, and I have to hesitate because I'm like, I'll say something to someone and they're like, no, you've never told me that, or you've never said that. And it's like, oh shit. It's like, whoa. So now it's like, where am I with conversations with people? It's one thing when I experience it by myself. So it's starting to get into conversations or, interactions with people that I may or may not have said. So,
and what's your feeling in your being when you notice one of these or you're going through this?
Oh, it's just the bridge over to 4 and 5D. I mean, I've grown accustomed to it. The new energy, the new perspective. Absolutely. The first few times I admit, I lived in Paris for some time. I lost my wallet one night in Paris. The minute I realized I'd lost it, my inner voice said, everything's fine. Relax. The wallet's okay. And I'm like, no, it's not. I don't have it. Where is it? Went back to look for it. Didn't find it. And I said to the universe, I'm like, okay, fine. I don't have it. I want to, then I want to create a quantum jump for the wallet to be at my flat. So walked all the way back to the flat, walked in the door, and walked right by the bowl where it should have been. Looked in the bowl. It was there. And I just sat down and processed that for a while. So yeah, there's been some big ones. I'm okay with it. I get it. I'm starting to understand it. I'm sometimes they do throw me, but
Yeah. I
Yeah.
had something materialize. I know this sounds really weird, but it's a towel that's in my towel thing in the bathroom.
Not weird. Not weird.
Well, thank goodness I can tell people about this, because other people are like, meh. But I don't shop at Target for towels. I don't have a Target towel in my house. Yet this towel, I looked at the thing, and it doesn't match my other towels. And it's only me and my husband, and I always get 2 of each color. So I mean, anyway, I know myself and my towels, and there's one up there, and I said, "What's that?" And I went and looked on the internet, and you can only get them at Target. And I don't shop Target for towels. And I said, "Where did this come from?" It's the odd one out sitting up there.
Quantum jump.
Yeah. So somebody else named
That's
Noel.
A good one.
Huh?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually physical. It was quite weird.
My wallet in my pocket as I leave, because I have to have my wallet to use the train, my wallet in my pocket to leave, and then it's not when I get there, and it's back in the bowl. So
Yeah, no.
I mean, you probably just sat at your kitchen table and went,
Yep.
Well, what you're also describing is timelines actually collapsing.
Yeah.
As you are letting, you, Nicole, you mentioned this. This is one of the reasons I brought this in here, because you were saying, well, I have more room for more love. Yes, because as you let stuff go and you integrate stuff. So, the tube of toothpaste, as I describe it, you're squeezing the stuff out. More of you is imploding into you. So all that extra stuff has to leave. With the integration, you no longer need those things. So you're actually collapsing whole timelines.
Agreed.
And they are dematerializing is the easiest way to put it. So that's why you will notice things jump, because everything else is the same, and that's a remnant or a new place that you've jumped from one to the other. Sometimes you can, as you did with the wallet, Mathew, call it to you in that way.
Right. Absolutely.
So okay, the train, as if, the 42nd Street stop is coming up, and I'm going to jump onto the E train as we get there, kind of a thing, right? Or you can also, as you collapse stuff, it actually you will jump because it's totally dematerialized. What you're also saying, your multidimensionality is showing.
Correct.
And you're realizing that you actually do create your realities. So there are envelopes, like this energetic envelope that we're opening here. So we open that and we collapse other ones. And then if there are other beings, other things, other energy frequencies that are in those realities, we are actually calling them to us and bringing them in there. So you're right. It can be unnerving, a little scary. To me, it's like, okay, here we go.
But I notice now, because of the pace, and I mean, literally things moving. Sometimes, I walk out of the room and walk back in, and it's somewhere different, and it's like, and because of the pace of that, I'm realizing that timelines for me are bleeding together, because it's not just this one event once a month or once every few weeks or something. Now it's all the time. So it's like, okay, these are bleeding into one another. So that was the term I was using there to you.
And there was something else last week. I think I mentioned this to you, BZ, or someone, where the time of the day stretched out like, I mean, it was like from 8 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock. I was like, wow, is this big? But yet I watched a John Wayne movie in the middle of it, The Shootist, his last movie.
Okay.
And my husband and I sat down to watch it, and that went by like this. Bing. All of a sudden, even my husband said, well, that went by really quick. It was like, so this movie went by quick,
but the day
inside a very big, how do you explain that, BZ?
Because we're not in linear anymore. I've been saying that pointing it out for quite a while, but time is a concept that's a false construct that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You're in the moment. The only moment that truly exists is
I
say that again.
I said, oh my God, I just had a little epiphany there. It was like, wow. I mean, I get it. I've heard that before many times, but just now, I mean, that's the lie.
Yes.
The lie is the lie. And it's the tool of control. And when you're in the moment, in yourself, in your inner, that does not exist.
Right.
That's why the movie went so fast, I guess.
Numerous times I've gotten up from the sofa at 10 o'clock after after a TV show. I've gone in to brush my teeth. I've come back to the sofa and it's 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. So it's no time.
Right.
Sometimes a lot of people will describe it as no time.
Yeah.
And then, or time where time speeds, it's all, I always go like this, time speeds up. But if you think about it, one of the reasons that it's such a wonderful tool, if you want to have merchandising and marketing things and having product generation and revenue generation, and so there's 5 products and revenue generators right here, in the false construct, you need to have time. You need to have the concept that is time, because then you can work all this time and you can spend all of your time, because that's what you're focused on. I don't have how many times is in the vernacular, I don't have enough time, and time, and most of them are negative.
Yes.
Yeah.
I finally had a really nice time.
Right.
Kind of a thing. So, but that's because of this is from a linear perspective. That's how the false construct can then monetize, and we are the value. So they can monetize all of that and keep us asleep to not knowing this. If you understand that there is no time, and that your creative spark, is what Jeanie was talking, was kind of coming up for her there, then you can't be manipulated.
And also, BZ, I'm noticing that people who are not awake, so to speak, no judgment, are still feeling this too, and they're a little more freaked out, I must say. But so the constructs and the people trying to hold this together, because there is no linear time, so trying to keep the fake thing going, it's really going to be major tough, because even people that aren't so-called awake are getting it.
Right. Well, what you describe is that, they haven't hopped off the planet. And since the planet is way beyond, the 5th dimensional frequency vibration, right? And we're all on her, it's like you're in the car.
Yeah.
If there's music playing in the car, unless you've got something plugged in your ears, well, you still hear the vibration. So there's no escaping it. And the wonderful thing is that it's cosmically delicious. So some people still don't want to, be with it, but it doesn't matter. It's no escaping it, unless you hop off the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Wow.
Woo!
It's fun.
More Target towels coming your way.
More Target towels.
You know what?
Now I gotta take it back and say I didn't buy this.
then they will call the cops.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm holding the intention. I'm gonna send you another Target towel.
Send me a blue one.
Oh, blue. Okay. Any color of blue.
Any shade.
You have to call you have to tell her if you get another blue towel.
Yeah.
Well, this would be, I'll make a note when I put up the video, but let's keep playing. So put in the comments. I can use it as the, hey, Matthew, I got the blue towel.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. So Belinda had the wonderful, her line was that her focus point is coming face to face with self. And I love how that feels, and it's so true. Everybody's doing that. So share with us, Belinda, what you're feeling and playing with that.
Well, the thing is I'm realizing that everything that I see, hear, feel, do, it's me. Like if I'm talking to someone and I don't like what they're saying or something, it's not them. There's something in me that is not, I don't know, it's not in alignment with them, or it's not in alignment with me. Do you know what I mean? It's not a negative thing, but it's like I have to be aware, oh, they said something, but it's not, it doesn't mean that they, oh, I don't know how to explain it. It's like I take responsibility for what it is that's coming my way, because I feel like I am the one orchestrating it, constructing it. It's me. You know what I mean? It's me. And so I'm taking responsibility for it. And I don't like that sometimes, because I not, like I say, I'm a nice person, but I can be a real bitch. And sometimes I just say, oh, why am I doing that? This is, I can change this. And why am I letting this bitch out? Or am I supposed to? Now that's a question. What do you think? Am I supposed to let her express herself, even if it's not nice?
Well, how do you feel? I mean, part of it is that's part of the integration process.
Right.
So when you're noticing it in someone else, it's lighting something up in you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or another way you could say it is oftentimes it's igniting something that needs to be burned off. So it goes and the energy then dissipates, and you've integrated that part within you.
My metaphor is we are all mirrors for each other.
Yes.
So if you get a polite clerk and a happy clerk, that's you. If you get a really angry, mad barista, that's you too.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's good, happy with you, that's a mirror. And if somebody's rude to you, it's also a mirror. But to BZ's point, it's got to come up. It's got to come out.
Right.
So the good and the bad. So if the bitch comes out, what happens? You have to bleep that one.
At least I notice. At least I'm not, oblivious to
what. No, you're aware.
Yeah.
That's a profound step, to be aware.
That's
a very profound
to
step.
Observe it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a big observer, and also I'm married to my twin flame, which makes it.
Wow.
Well, yes, because I've been studying that, and so when I see him and some of the things he does, I say, "Wow!" It's like, that's in me too, but I don't like it in him. So, you know what I mean? It's like, okay,
translation. You're looking in the mirror.
Yes. And
well, another way too you might hold it, Belinda, is that it's a reflection. So a mirror is one thing, but it's also a reflection in that there is, depending on what's transpiring, it could be that the energy, frequency, vibration at that moment that you're emitting, or that is more of your predominant at that moment, is being reflected back to you from that person. Okay. Yeah. And so that you can look at it and then expand on what the energy frequencies you like and navigate to your highest energy, frequency, vibration. And that's why I call them frequency neighborhoods, because you can navigate that way through them.
Yeah. Well, I do have some nice reflections. I mean, I'm acting like I'm not really that nice.
We all have our moments. It's like,
Well, that's the beauty of it, isn't it? They actually all are nice reflections, because they're ways to let us see where we want to balance things out, within ourselves, and then expand from that.
Right.
Agree.
Right. And my higher self speaks to me a lot too, which is a tremendous help. I mean, we have good communication, so that's when I say, did I do that wrong? And they'll tell me. They tell me.
That's great.
They told me to do this, BZ. I didn't really want to. I was scared to death. They said, no, you do it.
They told me too. They said, Get in touch with Belinda. Okay, fine.
Well, I couldn't believe it. Here I am.
Wait, it's really funny when I saw BZ on Conscious Conversations. They've been following that for a while, and I remember thinking one time, I wish I could get to talk to her.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Yeah, well, yours lit up too. All of you guys. That's how it goes. I'm so, okay. Well, let's see. A Monday's coming up. Want to let me know who I'm supposed to have on the show?
There you go. How about that girl that writes down comments once in a while? Maybe she'll join. Yeah.
Your phone was going green. Did you want to jump in? No.
What? Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I said your phone. When I'm looking at my screen, I can see the pictures, and your phone was going, on the edge of your rectangle was going green, like you wanted to say something. So.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I just put it on mute for a second because there were some cars driving by. Well, I'm sorry, I got distracted by the cars and the mute button. I love how these, like you guys' experiences of the timelines, they were talking about that because I've not noticed any timeline skipping per se, but definitely the instant mirroring. And one of the things that I had mentioned to BZ to talk about tonight was abilities. And I had an experience this week where I was at work and I was walking down the stairs, and I've had a lifelong chronic habit of of negative self-talk. So I'm walking down the stairs and I was feeling really, really heavy in my body, like heavier than normal. And I noticed, wow, man, I just felt like, somebody put 100-pound invisible monkey on my back. It was so weird. And so I took a deep breath and I said to myself, I just need to lighten up. I just, need to lighten up and be nice to myself. And as I walked around the corner, it's like a little S-curve there, I literally almost felt like I was going to float off the ground. And I was like, whoa. And I just laughed to myself and walked into my office and then got distracted by work. But I was just like, what just happened there? So I've had a lot of ideas about what is possible in this world because I've had a history of, like 30 years ago, I was in this non-denominational church and we would sing, and it was just a very loving community, singing love songs to God. And we would pray for each other. And I experienced creative miracles in that space, in that time. And so I know that miracles, they happen. And I went through this journey, just a lot of painful circumstances, and got, wiped out, tired and stressed out, and, bad attitude, not enough rest, all those beautiful things of the system. And because I had to, I was a single mom, 4 kids, I had to work, I had to keep, a roof over our heads. So through that, in my pit, in my body going to hell, pardon the, language, I had this epiphany. It was like garbage in, garbage out, all of the negativity through the divorce and all that. And I got a bad attitude. I let myself go. I didn't pay attention to what I was putting into my spirit, which is nothing pretty much. So I started reading positive books again. I started, meditating and being nice to myself, getting enough rest and all those, eating raw vegetables and fruits. And I started to, I noticed a change. I started to change in a positive way. So, but I set forth a huge momentum in those years of pain and angst and abuse and all the crap that goes on that nobody wants, all that contrast, if you will. And it's been a very intentional, very, you know, taking responsibility for myself over and over again in my life. But it's kind of like I've done it, and now it's kind of collapsing into my heart and my ability to love myself like I've loved others in my life. And it's all it's all coming together in that beautiful, flowing, toroidal, powerful awareness of love, you know, love self now and all as well. And it's becoming a more evident, more energetic truth in my experience. And it's cosmically delicious beyond words.
It is. And it's, you know, one of the things, it's interesting how your what you just gave voice to started with an ability that popped up for you, and you're ending with, you know, loving yourself and stepping into that. But that's kind of your on-ramp to your different abilities.
Yes, and I had let it go. I didn't really let it go, but I just walked into the world and I left my love bubble. Not that I left it, but it was tucked in my heart because it was perceived as not safe. And so I kept it in my heart, and I lived through it. And the open heart, the singing with abandon, the love, the grace, the feeling of being completely forgiven, you know, those powerful feelings I was having trouble experiencing through, you know, my circumstances, through the punishment of the system, through the abuses, through, you know, through the total awareness of the not wanted of the world, and navigating through that and trying to keep, you know, love my family and take care of everything and be a good person. It can destroy you. Well, it almost destroyed me, but I was able to begin to love myself, because that was lacking. I was out of balance. I was loving others too much and leaving nothing for me. Mm-hmm. And so I started, you know, like I said, doing all that self-care. And now the self-care thoughts used to plague me it's almost like they're becoming a non-thing. You know, it's like a situation will come up and I'll start to whatever, and it's as long as I meditate and stay in my heart, it's easy to do. When I get up in my head, in the fear and the look of the circumstances, the 3D, the linear, the system, the construct, the whatever, you know, I start to have a fearful thought, but I let that go and remember, I trust God. I know the truth. I know all is well. And that was that epiphany I had about the time not being a thing. That, I mean, I've known for a while, and I've been writing about how our power is love in this moment now, knowing love now, loving self now, loving all now, seizing the moment, because now is the power to create. Now is the moment to feel the love. Now is the moment to embrace all and let our power shine, and just fireworks with fireworks, each and every one. And once we all know that, it's like boom, there goes the power again, cosmic sparklers everywhere.
Yeah.
That about covers it.
That does. That was a good wrap up there. I like, Jeanie, how you whipped out the manual at work, you know, down the corridor. I'm feeling heavy. Oh, I could play with going down that cycle of that, or I'll just lighten up, give myself a break, and hey, look at that, I'm levitating as I walk down the corridor. You know, so
real. Oh, it was crazy cool.
Yeah. What'd you say, Noel?
I just said we are such powerful creators.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Kick-ass creator beings. Yep.
Kick-ass. And when you were talking about now, it's now, it was reminding me that that's how I started waking up back in 2007, was Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And the new
Nice.
Earth, the book. I remember I was in corporate America, and when I read that book, I just went, what am I doing here? There's so much more. It's like this door came open for me, and and then, as you all know, you can never go back.
No.
So the door opened. That was 2007, and I had some other issues, and then another job, and then again, it just kept on getting worse, and I was getting like hiatal hernia from stress. And it was all this corporate stuff of competition. I was in sales, so it was all this, it was just amazing. Finally, I'm not working anymore, and I'm really basically retired. So, because I'll be 65 anyway, so it's time. But I mean, it was amazing to me how it all went. And when you also mentioned about, loving yourself and everything, I used to sit down. It took me 3 years in meditation to sit down and not get mad that I couldn't hold my meditation better. I was very, almost self-destructive in my meditation practice, because it was like, I can't sit here for more than 2 minutes without, and as that leveled off and I got to open up and love more, and, that all took care of itself. Now I can sit and meditate whenever, because it's just there for me. But anyway, it's just been such a journey. I was just wondering how, since I can honestly say it was about 2007, I was just wondering, does anybody have a year that they kind of remembered as when they opened the door?
Who wants to jump in? Matthew? Belinda? Jeanie?
For me, it was probably the 1995.
Oh, yeah.
I would I would sneak to the spiritual bookstore. I parked in the back. I'm not kidding you, and I went at certain times, like when it was. But I'd be coming home from my corporate job, and I'm like, oh my God. I'd park in the back, and I spent a fortune there. They knew who I was, and I would just walk in the door and just stand in the space. Sometimes I wouldn't even buy anything, and they would not even bother me. I would just stand there and just take it in.
Oh, I love it.
But then I would buy things, and I would sneak them back to my house. I had a partner at the time, and hide the books.
Or say, that's not mine.
One of those book jackets, that has it's a false leaf over, right?
Yeah, but God, sometimes I'm just like, what are you doing? You're sneaking in the back door of a spiritual bookstore. It's like, but that's what I felt at the time. It was just, there was nobody to, talk to that I knew of, and so yeah, I'm mid 90s.
Mid 90s. That's interesting, Matthew. Boy, that's funny. I'll never go into Barnes and Noble spiritual section again without thinking of you.
This wasn't even a chain store. This was just a real, honest to God, small mom and pop. It was all spiritual, and it was just the energy there was just
was wonderful.
Yeah,
the words were just coming out in geometric forms to you, probably.
It was just, and after my corporate hamster wheel for the day, I'd sneak in and buy a book.
There you go.
That's wonderful. Belinda, you want to share what you were thinking about the time for you?
Well, what I was thinking is, I've been on this spiritual journey for like 50 years. I'm 69. And I was thinking, back in like my 20s, because we all know what that was back in the 70s, that was the beginning of the age of Aquarius. I mean, everyone was talking about it. So I studied all that stuff in college and stuff. And then I went through my sex and drugs and rock and roll days. And for a while, I was out of commission, if you know what I mean. And now, now I'm back. And so living in the now, yes, that is what I do. And I think about compassion and love. I think if I can just remember that, whatever I do and say, like just come from love, be compassionate. And so, I don't know, the doors are opening. They're opening all the time. There's so many of them. Sometimes I don't know which direction to take. So I just stand still. I don't know if that makes any sense. I just, I don't have a group of people around me. I mean, I have people, but they're not into what I'm into.
Well, you got a group right here.
Yeah.
Yes,
and Belinda,
yeah.
Newsflash, you brought this group to you. Just saying.
I know. See, that's what I mean. I face to face. I did. I wanted to, but I was scared. But I'm proud of myself because I was scared, but I did it anyhow. I mean, I don't know. I'm a country girl. Even from the very roots of me is a small town girl.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Yeah. Well, this is a big deal. We're going to be on YouTube, for heaven's sake. I told all my friends and family, I said, I'm going to be on YouTube.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, I might not let them see it.
You're lucky. You're lucky there's no cell phones to record your drug, sex, and rock and roll.
Everybody, I'll tell you, everybody knows what I've done. I told you, I live in a small town. I can't live it down. They all know.
It's one thing to know it, but it's one thing to see that on YouTube.
Yeah. Well.
It's interesting you say that, Belinda, because I've often thought that they brought in all that, which all of us, if we're of a certain age, participated in some maybe and some didn't. Mm-hmm. But I think they brought it all in just to kind of, they saw what was happening. The light was moving on and it was showing up. And they thought, well, we don't want this. And they brought in some of the stuff to calm that. Well, now they can't, but this was 50 years ago. So I don't know. What do y'all think about that?
Muddying the waters, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mudding the waters, to just make it last a little longer, keep us not awake just a little longer.
Oh, yeah.
50 years longer for some people, but I mean, still. And because I think that was ready to roll back there in the 60s. I really do. And, and it was stopped.
Well, what happened to those people? That's what I'm trying to say.
We're here. We're still here.
Yes, but look at the shape of the world. That's what I mean. All those people are what made the world now, isn't it? I mean, what went wrong? I am looking for flower children. That is a phrase I love. That's what I want. I want to live in a commune on my island. I want to try. I mean, come on. Where's this? You all went in corporate America. I mean, except you're out now, thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness. Well, there was no place else to go for me.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
I mean, that's all I knew, and that's all I, I don't know. They had that money thing where if you do this, you get paid, you get a car, and then you get to do this and that, and,
Yeah, that money thing.
It's a whirlwind.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, the illusory, surprise pies in the box of life, right?
Yes.
Go here, you get this, and
you get this. It's a carrot stick, or what they say. They're pulling the carrot the whole time. Right. Well, the gig's up as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, the gig actually has been up for quite some time, but now we're all pulling it into the
manifestation
form, and we're seeing it all over the place. Yeah,
absolutely.
It was kind of wobbly out there, and now it's taking a little more shape, so to speak, with everybody waking up. I had a dream the other day where it was like I was seeing the earth as a ball with a lot of mosaic, like little pieces of color of mosaic pieces. And every now and then there'd be a gold piece come up, and now all of a sudden all these gold pieces are coming up.
Oh, wow.
It's like, more people waking up. And it's just vibrating with these gold pieces all over the planet.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Because the frequency of the planet is changing, and each being is allowing themselves. They don't need that book jacket, covering their book, and they don't need to park in the back of the store anymore. They can come right, that's why when we began
in the front door.
Yeah.
Where's the spiritual
Nicole,
section?
You were saying, you had to tone it down a little.
Yeah, me too.
So, let's throw out the toning down and
okay.
It's not about selling it, or pushing it to someone, but if each one of us is who we are, and we, let your light shine, and you let yourself be that beacon that you are, people can turn away, they can put on sunglasses, they can avoid your block, and a lot you'll notice they just don't come in your
space. Exactly. They just don't, they don't show up anymore.
Yeah.
No, they're invisible, and they're, like you were saying, almost like an alternate planet. It's almost like, and even though it's not a different planet, these are vibed this way, and these people are vibed this way.
Yep.
And there's all this in between, and there's two different vibes going with a lot of in between, and a lot of people are up here now.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Going to get bigger to where this will be the big. I'm so excited for the planet. I can just see the planet just blooming and just the way it should be. I love this planet.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. Jeanie, did you want to jump in and let us know when you were feeling into you kind of started waking up, or were you always that way?
Well, I feel like in the sense of having an ability to really embody love, I feel like I was born that way. But I've had different seasons of seeking. I feel like I've always been spiritual, and I've always wanted truth and goodness. And when I was, in 1983, I had an experience where it was through the lens of becoming a born-again Christian. I was raised Catholic, and I had this experience where, I'd always talk to God and whatever, but in that moment, I felt energy, like electricity, like tingling and elation. And so in that moment, I had a knowing for real that I had a connection with God. And so from there, I had an intentional journey of continuing to seek that relationship, to nurture the relationship with God, to look into what truths I could find in my experience. So, so I did the Christian thing, like I said, we had miraculous encounters and just blissful connections. Everybody in the church was very loving. They hugged each other. We got around and sang songs, with a guitar till the point of elation, and then watched limbs grow. I mean, it was a very, very cool experience. But I had the foundation of being Catholic. So even though I was having this experience, it was my perspective, my perception of the message of grace, of complete forgiveness, of complete being new, of complete freedom to love and be loved. And so I floated from that experience into, like I said, some turbulent times, and kind of walked away from the Christian aspect because I found some extreme judgment, and I had come to a point where I took full responsibility of myself and my actions and my thoughts, and I owned it. And the people that I was surrounded with said I was a backslider and this and that. So I just walked away from that, and I sought truth. Other.
I couldn't hear.
Yeah, you. You broke up on that
And-
last part, Jeanie. Can you hear me? Say that again.
Yes. What was the last thing you heard?
That you, after you walked away, you just moved on to a new thing.
Oh, yes. I was very open to seek truth in other places, in science, in other religions, in philosophy, in nature, in relationships, in everywhere. I was seeking for that spiritual connection everywhere. And I found many, many gems along the way that helped move me, you know, in the seeking of a relationship with Christ. I continued to hold on to what I knew in experience was truth. And as I walked the open path, the things that were the beliefs that were limiting to me, like the guilt and the shame and just a lot of things, kind of fell by the wayside here and there. And I was always open to magic, and I had not experienced the bliss that I had when I was in the church life. I missed the music and the people and the love and the heart connection. And so I was looking for it elsewhere, and I visited a psychic. I had my tarot read once or twice. You know, I read my horoscope. I mean, I did a lot of these things, and, you know, just in my being open to everything, I have come to a satisfactory knowing that I absolutely am the creator of my life. Even the hard times that I went through, my feeling and my thought processes attracted that experience to me. In that token, I am responsible for the GMOs in the food. I am responsible for the toxifying of the earth, because my thoughts and feelings led to that in a very meandering, long, indirect path. And so I didn't, you know, I didn't work for a corporation that did this or that. I'm just saying that my thoughts and feelings attracted these experiences into being. I am taking my part of ownership of what condition this world is in. And from that perspective, I know that I know that I know that I know that a beautiful mirror of that is true, that a beautiful perfection of being and health and well-being and thriving is now. And so I endeavor in my every moment to live in the knowing within myself that all really is well, no matter what I see, no matter if I get upset with something, I focus on it in a dislike, I immediately get okay, this is contrast. I know that I prefer something else. Or if something happens and I say, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. All is well. I forgive myself, I forgive others, I focus on the relationship and the love and the connection of everything. And the more I look for it, the more I see the magic of this beautiful dance of people and how they come to you and respond to you in situations and circumstances that for my whole life, I look at the tapestry of it and I marvel at thoughts I had as a child and things I desired and what's come to pass, and that I've gotten exactly what I've wanted. 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys, 4 grandkids, 2 girls, 2 boys. I could go on and on and on. So I just, at this point, do my best to be, to love myself, to love others, to be loving toward our creation, toward the planet, toward the creatures, toward the trees, and know for sure that our collective energy has already brought about the healing, the complete healing and the complete newness. It's just the guise or the cloud, the veil of time, and what's going on in that fabric is still mesmerizing some people, but I feel that from my perspective, it is no more.
Right.
in my experience, I am feeling love right now.
Yes.
I love all of you. Thank you for being on this call. Thank you, BZ, for the invite. And I'm loving and appreciating being a part of this conversation.
Yeah. It's funny, a couple of mentioned hiding from spiritual bookstores and this and I was thinking back, was there a time, as Noel asked the question, when did I wake up or what? And I realized it was kind of the flip for me, because when I was a kid, I'd always talk to animals and some people would say, think that was weird. And some people thought, well, that's kind of endearing, she talks to animals and she brings them home too. And, but I realized when I was about in a hard time of life, 16, 17, I thought, a lot of people don't hear and see and experience what I am, and I wonder why that is. I spent a lot of times in 17 to 20-year-old space of time thinking, I wish everybody would wait. And then I chilled out a little bit, but then I realized that it was like there were different colors. So I would see one set of colors or one set of possibilities or one set of, tangible, realistic things, and others would see other things, and got the message very quickly that I needed to dance between those two, to learn to do that, because that was what I was needed to do. Now I would have used different languaging back then, and came in different ways. But one of the things that I felt was just, I laughed. I loved your description, Mathew, because there were many times when I would go into a bookstore and books would come off the shelf. So there, you walk down the store and I'd pick the spines and I'd pick one out, or and this could be a spiritual bookstore, it could be any bookstore. I love books. And they would literally come off the shelf and either bump right on my hand or fall at my feet, or, there are messages everywhere for us, and there's different things. And I always felt if, you could get something out of the whole book, whatever the book was about, or one line, one sentence in there, and I'd be reading along. I could be engrossed in the story. It could be fiction. It could be nonfiction, whatever it was. And I'd go, wow, that's it. And it would light up on the page for me.
Yeah.
And it would open all new doors. And it didn't have to be, now is the only moment, right? Kind of a thing. Or it didn't have to be open your heart. It could be just a line of dialogue.
Yeah.
And it was, opening those doors. So I think the doors have always been there, and I had to kind of open them in reverse because no one else around me had the doors open, if that makes sense. And
well, you were the pioneer at the time.
Yeah, you were a pioneer, BZ. And I remember back when I was like 21, I remember saying to some guy, and I don't know why I thought he might understand, but I remember saying, things are really changing for me quickly. Like every 6 months, I'm feeling a different step forward. And this was back in 1975. And I remember him kind of looking at me and goes, oh, yeah. I didn't have anyone to tell these things to. But even then, I remember feeling a quickening going on that I couldn't really explain. And that was 75. And then, of course, there was a lot of time in between that and really, waking up. But I think everyone, not only on this call, but everyone who's awake needs a big super duper duper hug, because it's not easy. If you really look over, I'm over here a lot, but once in a while you got to go through 3D to get where you're, physically going. And it's crazy if you really look at the billboards. And I had to walk out on a movie last week. I can't stand commercials. We have to mute everything.
Yep.
Because chatter. And I think that's one of the things I said in one of my things, BZ, was, you know, if I'm not having a real conversation, it's just chatter.
Right.
Exactly.
Do you get
Amen.
that?
Yeah. It's kind of like Charlie Brown, isn't it? With the teacher.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, they're the teacher or something.
I have physical reactions now.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah,
Matthew?
I do. Yeah, I mean, meeting up with family or extended family, and you know, it's the same conversations, you know, for
Yeah.
decades. And I have to leave the room.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
I am so sensitive right now to
I
TV
am
shows,
too.
commercials, to everything, and it's like if we can't connect on some sort of
Right.
level,
Then it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's really important that you honor that in yourself, because that's that sharing force that I'm talking about. Your frequency not only has expanded and raised, but now this is the predominant frequency that you're
Yes.
carrying, and it's painful. It is.
It is.
Yes, BZ, yes.
Painful. Yes, and so as you'll notice too, as you'll go through that stage. So you'll learn to navigate it. You'll honor that. You won't. You'll go to a few of those situations where you get that pokey energy, and you go, "Okay, I got it. That's enough for that, right?"
Actually,
Yeah.
pressure builds in my head.
Yeah.
It just builds, and it's like, gotta go. I mean, because it gets painful.
And then you go through another phase that because every being here has things that they agreed to do, and there's a whole multiple list of things that you agreed to do, and a lot of them you've already been doing your whole life, right? So you may not, go, oh, is that, list 29A? It isn't like that. But there are other things in this next phase that's coming, well, that's already here, where things have crumbled down, and the new is unfolding, and that expansion is now kind of flowing through all the others that have been in their own time, you could say, slow to wake up or whatever. It's not, it's just their own time.
Divine timing.
But people will, all of you will then be able to develop a way where you can, for short periods, immerse yourself in those areas, if for nothing else, to be transmitters. And transmit that frequency. It has to be short periods of time, and I do certain things where it's a bubble of love around me. I can go someplace and totally put shields up, but then I can't feel, and I can't use all the other sensory abilities that I have when I do that. So as long as I limit it to short, bursts, I can do that. And that's another phase. People say, oh, I can't, it's very common to say, I can't go around, certain people and that's great. And to honor that. And then you'll expand a little bit more, and you'll go, oh, I see. I can move in here, maneuver in that. And, I don't
I'm looking forward to that.
But,
to be of service, would be a great thing in that regard.
Well, you already are, and you're just becoming more conscious of it.
Right.
Yeah.
You have been for a very long time.
Yeah. Remember the cosmically delicious effervescent bubbles you started the call with?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been doing that. What are you, almost 65? You said.
Yeah, I'm almost 65. I'll be 65 in December.
So you've been doing that for 64, and what's the kids say, 5/16 years?
What's the date? What's the date in December?
The 26th.
Cool.
14.
What are you?
14.
Oh, all right. December rocks. Not just because of Santa Claus either.
All right. Well, so we're going to wrap up. Is anybody have any final thoughts or things they want to go out on?
I just wanted to say I wanted to share my marshmallows with everybody tonight. And I'm very happy to be here, and thanks so much for the invite. And it's been a joy to meet everybody tonight.
Wonderful.
Very nice. Yes.
And I'll just add a note to that, Noel. there are self invites. Y'all have my email address, so you just say, "Hey."
I'm in.
So we can just say when we want to jump on board?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Gee, that's nice.
It's amazing how easy that is.
Gee,
There may be,
technology today.
yeah, I like to keep it to 5 because that's a good number. So it may be, well, yeah, let me know and let's see, you can
See if you can make, if there's like 10 people that want to come on,
Yeah.
You got the secret handshake. You're in.
the secret handshake. Yeah.
You're in.
You got effervescent sparkle bubbles behind you, so come on in.
Yeah.
Cool. Who else?
Well, 5 is my birthday and my favorite number, and I love getting together with all you to have these heart bubble parties. So, yes, I'll call it and do it again.
Where do you live?
I live in the heart of America. I live in Overland Park, Kansas.
Oh, okay. And Mathew?
I'm visiting Ohio right now.
Where you're visiting Ohio?
Yeah, based in London.
Okay. Well, I grew up in West Virginia, so I know that area.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know that Belinda's in Maine.
Yep.
And BZ's in Washington.
Right.
Nice. And I'm in Sac.
Okay.
Where?
Sacramento.
Okay.
Oh la la.
West Coast for the time being.
Yep.
Well, thank you all. I enjoyed meeting you and talking with you and
Yes.
feeling your wonderful vibes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm,
us.
I'm very glad that, well, let's see, there would be, in this conversation I'm talking about, Belinda, there's 3 of us who are very glad that you got the memo.
Yeah, well, I'm not coming back unless you hear from my people.
Yeah.
Your people.
Her people came in to talk to my people, and we got all hooked
it
up.
was a backdoor deal.
And then we went and said, we've been having a conversation. So my soul and me.
Careful what you wish for.
Right?
Mathew, I'll be looking for my towel.
That's right.
Yes, please do.
Thank you so much, everybody. It was a beautiful conversation. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Have fun out there playing and see what other abilities you can expand into.
What other spidey powers you can find?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Much love to everybody.
I'll be
Love
in-
you.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.